Hey everyone, welcome back to Mystifying Miracles. Got another true story today. It's about a little girl who had cancer. So listen along and we're going to get started. There was a little girl named Lily. She was 3 years old, and unfortunately, she had gotten cancer. Well, the cancer began to spread all throughout her body, unfortunately. During that time, doctors were able to perform 2 different surgeries to remove a huge tumor from her abdomen. After those surgeries were performed, the next 2 years, little Lily went through rounds of just hardcore chemotherapy. But despite all of that, the surgeries and the chemo treatments, the cancer kept spreading. And, eventually the medical staff, they just tried to warn little Lily's parents that, hey, there's nothing else we can do now. But the best thing we can do is to try to make Lily comfortable in her last days. Well, after all, these few years had passed, Lily is now 5 years old, and she began voicing out to her parents that she was scared of heaven and she didn't want to go. She didn't know what it was going to be like, who would be there, what would she do? She wouldn't have her family. All these little thoughts from a child's perspective were going through little Lily's, mind. She was scared. One day, one of Lily's nurses is in her room just tending to her, and Lily begins to yell out, "He's fishing! He's fishing! He's fishing in heaven!" And so the nurse is kind of, "Lily, what are you talking about?" And she says again, "He's fishing in heaven. He's happy now. The boy next door, he's happy." Here's a few things. Okay. Down the hall, her next door neighbor in the next to the hospital room that little Lily's in, there was indeed a little boy. And he did indeed just recently pass away that day. But there is no way that little Lily could have known that. She didn't know the boy. She had never met the boy. She'd never even gone into his room. So she had no idea of his existence. But in that moment, she had a little vision seeing him fishing in heaven, and he was ecstatic and happy about it. And that in turn made Lily happy. Now, another little odd thing, which Lily, her parents, no one would have known. I mean, the nurse, but they don't talk about other patients with other families like that. You can't do that. So, in that little boy's room next door had been a picture in a frame, and it was of him, the little boy, catching a fish. He was holding up a little fishing pole. So apparently that was a hobby of his that he loved doing. And now he was doing it in heaven, and Lily could see that. Obviously, Lily's family, they think this was God's way of just easing Lily's fears about what heaven would be like, and that you don't need to be scared. And it did work. It indeed eased her little fears. And, a little bit of time passed, and of course, unfortunately, little Lily, her health worsened. And there came a day where her mom was sitting next to her in the hospital bed. And Lily, she's a little bit out of it, but she starts counting just to 10. 1, 2, 3. And she's looking at the corner of her hospital room, and she's just counting repeatedly over and over to 10. So her mom's kind of like thinking, well, Lily's 5. She really can't count past 10 anyway, not knowing what she's doing. So she finally asks Lily, "What are you doing?" And Lily said, straight up, quote back to her mom, "I'm counting angels, Mommy." Well, that very next day, Lily did pass away, and she finally got to see what heaven was truly all about. Now, Lily's nurse, one of her main nurses, this is kind of how this story began to get out. She began to share it with people. And in addition, that same nurse, she had heard from other colleagues of at least 3 to 4 other stories involving children under the age of 6 that had reported seeing angels in their rooms. And it was usually always 1 to 2 days before they passed. So isn't that amazing? I know, it's not always a miracle of health, and that's sad that Lily, did die of cancer and whatnot. But the miracle was her little fears were eased in such a critical moment, where her health is failing and she's just little and scared. And God allowed that so that it would ease her fears and she wouldn't be scared in those last moments. I think that's just beautiful. I don't know. I think about angels a lot. I don't know if you guys do, but for some reason, I always have. Even as a kid, I've never seen one. It's just so intriguing. Sometimes I wish I could see them. I think that'd be cool. But then again, you probably see other things that wouldn't be too cool in the spiritual world. So I don't know. What about you guys? Anybody watching this, have you ever experienced seeing an angel or having angelic intervention in your lives? I've heard of a few throughout my family that have occurred, which is really cool. One of my relatives did see an angel when my grandmother died, right before she passed, in her hospital room. And that was in 1999, I believe. But yeah, it's a cool story. And then another one of when my mother was young. She tells of a story where her, and I think it was just her brother, and then my grandpa, so her dad, they were driving, and it was like on this, this deserted road, like a country road or something, and their car breaks down. And this was, early to mid 60s, I'm assuming. And somebody comes out of nowhere to help them. And when they look back, the person's gone. Crazy. I know. I'll have to get all the details on that one again from my mom, because it's been a while since I've heard her tell it. But overall, guys, it's amazing. I think it is anyway. Let me know your thoughts. Thank you so much for watching, and welcome to the new subscribers. Hopefully this year I continue to grow, so it's exciting. I hope these stories touch you guys, help you, and get you thinking on that deeper level, and hopefully have a relationship with God. Anyway, thanks guys again, and I'm going to see you guys in the next one.